Welcome to the Star Podcast.
Whoa. Star Podcast.
Welcome to the Star Podcast, hosted by Natt. Each week, we share tips and stories from safety, trucking, and recruitment, and everything in between. Listen now.
Welcome back to another episode. Today I get to sit down with Derrick Hartley, who's the corporate sales manager at Natt Group, and we discuss his career, we get into a bit about the company, but my favorite is him sharing some stories from his previous work, and I just thought it was a really cool story that he shared, just getting to learn a little bit more about him, about what drives him, and just who he is as a person. So I really like that he shared some insights into his previous work in his career, and I think this is a really interesting episode for you to listen to, so listen now.
All right. Well, I'm excited to welcome Derrick to the podcast. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Leslie.
So I was hoping to get started if you could share a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today, some career highlights.
Like, really what kickstarted my career was, and I kid you not, was I went to a baseball. So I was a national dispatcher for a computer networking company. And, I was working an 11 to 8 shift, which covered, Ontario to Western Canada. And from 5 to 8, it was a pretty quiet time. So I asked to start selling maintenance contracts over the phone. So I met with the VP. I asked to sell within an 8-month period of time. I sold over $600,000 of maintenance contracts, which was excellent. I made extra money. But what really spearheaded my career is I was asked to play in a baseball team for a weekend function for the company. And obviously the president was there, and we played our first game, and when we were done our first game, we went to a restaurant, and really between the first and second game, we had about an hour and 45 minutes to, eat and get back to the field. Well, when we sat down, I noticed that there was only one server and one cook. So instead of sitting there and waiting for this to happen, I realized that we'd have to get back to the game. I got up, I took all of our drink orders, and then I took all of our food orders. I went back to the kitchen. I gave the kitchen the information, helped the server, got all the cutlery, got everything, brought the drinks, helped serve the food, got the food. When we were done, we left, we got back to the game. I'm thinking nothing of it, right? This is just how I rolled at the particular time. I kid you not, that Monday morning, I was asked to go to the president's office, and he goes right there. He asked me, he goes, what made you do that on Saturday? I'm like, do what? He goes, help. I said, at the end of the day, I felt if I didn't step up and do that, we wouldn't get to our game in time. We want to get to a game our time. I want to make sure we have a great experience. So I just got up and did that. He goes, I can't teach that. He goes, I know you want to get into sales. I'm just going to give you a promotion. And this is what, at this time, it was getting into a junior product developer. So he wanted me to go and learn the product in computer networking so I can go sell it. So he promoted me to junior product developer. I worked with our third parties in terms of our vendor requirements and our, what vendor we're going to be particularly using based on what the customer needs were. And then I got into sales, and that's what launched me into sales.
That's such a cool story. I love that.
Okay.
It just shows it speaks to your character, and it shows how you go above and beyond, which I'm sure you need to do that in your role now. So, that's 100%. Such a cool story.
I've worked in healthcare. I've worked in education. I've worked in safety supplies. I've worked in food service. I've been in a junior management role to a senior leader role, managing a $280 book of business. Right, and we could talk about that.
Great if you could just share, so what's your job role now with Natt Group, and what are some of the things you do day to day? I'm sure it's always different, but what's your job and your role now?
Well, currently I'm I'll call it corporate sales manager for the Natt Group. And what I do on a daily basis really changes based on the needs of my team, based on the needs of the customer, and based on the needs of the business. Now, I'm responsible for a pretty large geographical territory in Ontario that covers from Thunder Bay to Brockville to Vaughan to our newly opened Barrie office to Timmins to Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury and Lively right in the middle. So I'm really responsible for a large geographical territory. My philosophy is really coaching and developing my team to be successful. And, if we have a strong coaching culture, then at the end of the day, that means there's great communications, great connections, great job objectives, and key performance indicators to allow the team to be successful. And I'm going to be the first individual that helps and support them to be successful. As a manager in today's environment, there's a lot of times where our team isn't successful. And if I don't, as a manager, go, hey, what am I not doing to help my teams be successful? Then I'm part of the reason why they're not. So with a strong coaching culture, we're there to really support them to be successful as individuals. And that's the biggest thing from a coaching strategy. And I learned that a lot, not only from my professional career, but when I coach the young kids at a youth age with basketball. So it's pretty interesting how there's transferable skills from an athlete perspective, but there's also transferable skills from a coach perspective when you bring it into your professional career.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. What are you most excited about with the company? I know there's tons of things, and you already spoke a little bit about the growth in Barrie, but is there something that you're most excited about with the company?
Really, what I'm most excited about is joining the company at a really unique time as we pivot to the market space. We're celebrating our 25-year anniversary September 11th this year. And that's pretty incredible to see where they've come from and where they are today. And then the opportunity to pivot and evolve to an organization that's going to be much different for the next 10 to 20 years. The most exciting part about that is I am allowed to be a part of that journey and how that journey is going to change and evolve as we grow as an organization and we start, strategizing of our 4 pillars of the business and then driving that forward and creating I call it a laser focus to help support that business. And I think what we'll talk about in another question is really that Natt power that's going to differentiate us in the market space.
We spoke about the different pillars just really briefly. So can you just explain to everyone what those pillars are within the group?
So our 4 pillars, which defines us as an organization, our first pillar is Natt safety, which confined space services. We have Natt personnel. We have Northern Academy, and then we have our Platinum Search Group, which is an executive search firms that recruits individuals for their particular market spaces.
Amazing. And I'll put those links in the show notes for anyone who wants to check out more information about that. And we can maybe do a follow-up episode and dive deeper. But I have had different episodes featuring different people from the different pillars. So
awesome. I like that.
Perfect. These 2 questions are a little bit similar. I just wondered if you could share a little bit about why you think Natt is different than any other company. And you mentioned the Natt power. Can you speak to what you're talking about when you refer to that?
What I feel a true differentiator for us in the market space when we go to market is, as an organization, when we work with our partners, we want to understand our partners' goals, challenges, and needs. And then when we want to offer a customized, tailored solution that's going to allow them to achieve those both personally and professionally. And a lot of times, we're talking about, the specific areas of the business, but then we can pivot to, how do we make the business more efficient? How do we provide some cost savings? How do we make it more safer? And how do we work together to come to those solutions? So that's what true differentiator for us in the market space is today.
That's great. What changes have you seen with the company over your time here?
So there's been a lot of change over the short 6-month time that I've been with the organization. Let's talk about growth. We've expanded into the Thunder Bay market in late December of last year. We're now into the Barrie market. And then we're really looking at pushing our Timmins market, which we just had our grand opening last September. So it's really, really exciting times for our growth. And with that growth, we're aligning the right individuals within the organization. So we've hired, multiple account manager positions. We just hired on an individual by the name of Stacy Kerr that's going to be responsible for our training. So as we grow and evolve, we need to make sure we have the right individuals in place in order for us to not only meet but exceed our client and customer expectations, and to make sure, and I want to highlight this, and to make sure that they have a positive customer experience. And in order for us to do that, we need to streamline our processes, make sure they're efficient, and make sure there's constant communication with our clients to ensure that we're delivering on what we say.
Can you share some details about the longevity of the company and years in business? I think you spoke to it a bit before, but...
Yeah, the company's been in business for 25 years, and I've known Kevin and Mark for a long period of time. I worked at Valence Safety for 5 years, and we were, at the time, trying to be a vendor of Natt Group of companies. At that time, it was TPS, and it's very interesting to see how the company has evolved from just the Lively location now to the expansion of all of Ontario. And we continue to grow and evolve, and we continue to pivot as an organization to be different in the market space.
Right. And I think it's really cool that there's some original people like Mark Arnold, who's the VP, has been with the company since day one. And I think that speaks a lot to the company and the relationship him and Kevin have. And
yeah, that's, I call those two the dynamic duo, right? They've been there since day one. They have a very, very interesting approach to the market space. They're very polished individuals. They're very knowledgeable individuals. They're experts in their field, and they've developed some strong relationships. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, people buy from know that they trust, and they create a trusted environment with the Natt Group. And that's showing with our exponential growth from 25 to now 26. And we're seeing that momentum happen into 26. And as we support and grow those pillars and then align with the individuals within the organization and have that knowledge and experience of those two individuals, that's a recipe for some exponential success. And I'm really excited to be a part of the team to jump on those coattails and then continue to grow with the company and the organization.
Nice. So why should a company choose Natt, whether they're looking at Natt Safety, Northern Academy, Natt Personnel? Like, why should someone choose Natt?
I'll answer that question simply. Just who we are and who we are as individuals. We're a company that cares. We're a company that wants to understand what our customers' goals, challenges, and needs were, what I talked about previously. And then we want to provide a customized solution. At the end of the day, we want to be the difference in the market space. We want to provide a positive customer experience. We have experts in our field that go out and provide solutions to our customers. We provide solutions, we provide recommendations, and those experts are out delivering that on a day-to-day basis. The other key differentiators is just generally who we are, and I call it the Natt Power. We have people that genuinely care about our internal customers, which is Natt Group as an organization, and our external customers, which is our entire group of book of business. And the Natt Powers are people.
Oh, so if someone's listening to this and maybe they want to learn more about you, they want to have a conversation, where can people connect with you? Are you at any upcoming events, or how would someone reach you?
So I'm going to be at multiple events. I think there's too many to share right now, but the next event, that's the biggest one, is going to be at PDAC. So we'll be there at the booth. We'll be there, all the events. Be happy to connect. I can provide my cell phone, email address to connect with me at any time. Be happy to have a discussion, learn about. I love learning, and I love meeting new individuals. And at the end of the day, whether you're a partner, a customer, a potential competitor, we all have a place to work together in the market space in order to create safer environments at the end of the day for our partners in the field.
Amazing. Well, I'll include links to your email address in case someone wants to reach out to you. But for anyone going to PDAC, I think it's March 1st to the 4th in Toronto, they can go and check out our booth 61 and have a conversation with you there. I'm glad we got to do this and record this.
Oh, thanks, Leslie. Appreciate you having me.
Wow. Star.